I'm Bob Abbott with Alarca Property Management, and we currently manage homes throughout the Charlotte, North Carolina and surrounding areas. Today we're going to talk about evicting a tenant in North Carolina. We get this call a lot from potential clients or from people just looking for information that want to understand the process. So the first question is, when can you file? Well, it depends on your lease. Under North Carolina law, you're required to give a 10-day written notice to the tenant demanding payment. This notice needs to take a specific format or the courts will not honor it. Your lease, however, may waive the 10-day requirement. So most property managers and realtors that use the lease has the clause in there that waives the 10-day notice requirement, so you don't need to go through that extra step. So you may simply file when the tenant is late on their rent. So that means at midnight on the 1st in most cases, you're able to file that eviction if you desire. Most folks will have some grace period in there. For example, in our case, rent's due on the 1st, it's late on the 6th, and we file evictions on the 11th. It's a consistent message to our tenants, and they understand what the rules are, and it's fair to everyone up front. We found the 11th gives folks a good balance between enforcing the terms of the lease and allowing them to get caught up if they've run into a problem. So what does it mean to actually file an eviction? You have to go to the courthouse, fill out the paperwork, and pay the fees. You may also pay an attorney to do this for you. Once that is filed, the court will set a date for the trial. And what happens is the sheriff actually has to go and try and deliver that notice to the tenant and post it on the property, or they'll just leave it for them. But typically there's about a 2-week period in there before the court date is set. So in our case, we file on the 11th. Court is typically somewhere around the 25th of that same month. So then you arrive in court. If you've done everything correctly, you follow the rules, you have the proper documentation, you've got the lease, you'll win your case. It's simple, cut and dry. The tenant hasn't paid their rent in most cases. You may also evict for other reasons, but typically it's for non-payment of rent. And you win the case. The tenant then has 10 days to file an appeal. That's North Carolina law, so you're not able to just go right away and lock them out of their house. After you win, you've got to wait that 10-day period before the next step. And that next step is filing what's called the writ of possession with the sheriff's department. This notifies the sheriff that you want the sheriff to meet you at the house to change the locks and verify the tenant is out of the home. So you're going to file the writ. Typically that's going to be around the 5th or 6th the following month, and then it's going to take the sheriff another week to 10 days to actually schedule that appointment. So now you're looking at about the 15th or 16th of the month when you're able to meet the sheriff at the home, change the locks, walk through the house, make sure it's empty, or if the tenant's belongings are there, you need to document what belongings are in place. You're not allowed to throw those out. The tenant has 7 more days to come back and get those belongings. So make sure you document with photos and or video what's in the house, and then wait those 7 days before you dispose of anything. The tenant can file suit against you if you don't follow any of those steps. So we often get asked, do we have to go through that whole process? The answer is yes. Your risk for lawsuits in potentially large amounts for throwing out tenants' belongings or locking them out by not following this procedure. So don't just lock them out, don't take their things to the curb, don't shut off the gas, the water, or the electricity. Follow the process and it'll pay off for you in the long run. If you've got any questions about this process, please give us a call and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about it.